The wind howled like a wounded animal, bending trees and rattling windows all across the neighborhood. Thick, dark clouds rolled across the sky, blotting out the final traces of sunlight. Thunder growled low in the distance, an ominous warning of the storm that was about to break. Inside their worn two-story home, Elena and Marcus Turner moved through the kitchen in a quiet rhythm, preparing dinner. Their 5-year-old son, Aiden, was nearby, sitting on the living room rug, completely absorbed in his game of lining up toy cars. Elena glanced at the kitchen window as raindrops began tapping against the glass. "Looks like we're in for a bad one tonight," she said, slicing cucumbers for the salad. Marcus nodded while checking the oven. "Weather app says it's only going to get worse before midnight. Good thing we're all inside." In the living room, Aiden was deep in concentration, his little fingers carefully adjusting each pound, making soft engine noises as he guided a red fire truck across his imaginary city. A flash of lightning lit up the room, and a loud crack of thunder followed. Elena flinched. The lights flickered once, twice, but stayed on. "Aiden, sweetie, dinner will be ready soon," she called, drying her hands on a towel. But Aiden didn't answer. His fire truck lay still in his hand, his eyes fixed on the front window. His small head tilted as if he were listening to something beyond the glass. Elena furrowed her brow and stepped closer. "Aiden?" Slowly, Aiden stood, abandoning his cars. He walked over to the window and pressed his palm against it. "Mom," he whispered, "there's something outside." Elena exchanged a glance with Marcus and moved toward the window. "What is it, honey? Did you see a raccoon again?" Aiden shook his head slowly. "No. It's big." Just then, a scratching sound came from the front door. Faint at first, then more urgent. It wasn't the wind or some tree branch brushing against the siding. It was deliberate, almost pleading. Marcus wiped his hands on a towel, grabbed the oven mitts, then hesitated. "Probably a branch," he muttered, though his voice was uncertain. The scratching came again, accompanied by a soft, pitiful whine. "Dad, open it." Aiden tugged at Marcus's shirt. "Someone needs help." Marcus inhaled, turned the doorknob slowly, and looked back. "Both of you, stand back," he said. The door creaked open. Cold wind and rain rushed in, but it wasn't the storm that made Elena gasp. Collapsed on their doorstep was a large golden retriever, its golden coat soaked and tangled with mud. The dog's body trembled. He was much too thin for his size, and one side bore a deep, angry gash crusted with dried blood. The retriever's chest rose and fell in labored, uneven breaths, his eyes fluttering as he struggled to remain conscious. "Oh my God," Elena whispered. Marcus knelt down beside him. "Hey there, buddy." He gently reached for the old, worn leather collar around the dog's neck. A rusted metal tag dangled from it. "Rex," Marcus read out loud. "That's his name." The rest of the tag was too scratched and faded to make out. Rain pooled around the dog's frame, mixing with fresh drops of blood. The retriever whimpered softly, shivering as his head lolled sideways. "We can't just leave him out here," Elena said. "No," Marcus agreed, carefully slipping his arms beneath the dog. Rex felt far too light for his size. As Marcus lifted the retriever, Aiden bolted toward the living room. "Put him on my blanket, Dad." "I'll get water." Elena stood frozen for a moment, watching her son dart into the kitchen with surprising urgency and focus. His toy cars forgotten, there was no fear in him, only a fierce determination to help. Marcus laid the retriever gently on Aiden's superhero blanket near the fireplace. The dog whimpered again but didn't resist. Aiden returned with a bowl of water and knelt beside Rex. The dog weakly sniffed the bowl but couldn't lift his head. Elena stood beside Marcus, her arms wrapped tightly around her torso. "He's in bad shape," she murmured. "We need a vet. Now." Marcus was already dialing his phone. Dr. Patel isn't answering, he said a minute later, frustrated. Emergency vet can't send anyone until morning. Storm's got half the town locked down. So what do we do? Elena asked, biting her lip. Marcus grabbed the first aid kit from the hallway cabinet. We clean his wound, keep him warm and hydrated, and pray he makes it through the night. As Marcus worked on Rex's wound with gentle hands, Elena knelt beside Aiden. Sweetheart, we need to give Dad space while he helps Rex, okay? Aiden nodded solemnly but didn't move. He reached out and stroked Rex's muddy head. Elena smiled faintly. You really want to stay with him, don't you? I don't want him to be scared, Aiden said softly. He came here for a reason. Elena exchanged a glance with Marcus, then relented. Okay. Just for tonight. I'll bring you dinner in here. Later that evening, after they had done what they could, Marcus hung up the phone and looked troubled. Still no luck? Elena asked. He shook his head. No. And something about all this. I don't know. It feels off. Elena sighed, glancing toward the living room where Rex now lay asleep. Aiden had curled up beside him, stroking his fur with one hand and holding a flashlight in the other. You feel it too? She asked. Marcus nodded. It's like Aiden and that dog, they already know each other. The wind outside rattled the shutters again. Elena hugged herself. There's something familiar about Rex. I don't know what it is. Maybe we've seen him before. Marcus offered. Maybe. I'm just not sure where or when. They decided to get some rest, but as they turned to head upstairs, lightning flashed again. For a brief moment, the living room lit up, and Elena saw Rex's eyes wide open, watching them. Not with fear. With awareness. Intelligence. She froze. Marcus noticed. What is it? Elena shook her head. Nothing, probably just the storm playing tricks. But as she followed Marcus upstairs, she couldn't shake the feeling. Rex was more than just a lost dog. He was here for something. Or someone. The next morning arrived gray and damp, the sky still heavy with clouds. Rain had softened to a mist, leaving the streets slick and quiet. Inside the Turner house, the living room smelled faintly of antiseptic and wet fern. The golden retriever lay stretched out on Aiden's superhero blanket, his breathing shallow but steady. Elena moved quietly through the house, careful not to disturb the dog, or her son, who was still curled up nearby, his head resting gently against Rex's shoulder. Marcus came downstairs and handed her a cup of coffee. Did he wake up at all? Elena shook her head. Just once, maybe around 3 a.m. He whimpered a little. Aiden was already awake, petting him. Kid's glued to that dog, Marcus said, glancing toward the scene. Elena's voice lowered. It's like they've always known each other. Marcus gave her a sideways look. You said something last night. About feeling like you've seen him before. She nodded slowly. I think I have. You remember my morning jogs by the woods? There was this dog, a retriever, who used to watch me. Always in the same spot. He never approached. Just watched. You think that was Rex? Aiden stirred, his small voice piping up before either parent could continue. It was Rex, he said with sleepy certainty, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. Marcus and Elena froze. Elena knelt beside him. Aiden, how do you know that? He told me. Told you? Elena asked gently. In a dream? Aiden nodded. He was protecting you. From the bad man. Elena felt a chill work its way up her spine. What bad man? Aiden only looked at her for a moment before standing and walking to the kitchen to pour water for Rex. As he walked away, he added, Rex came to ruin us. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. That's creepy. More than creepy, Elena said. It's unsettling. They didn't press Aiden for more information. He was just a child, after all. Children had wild imaginations. But the specifics of his words stayed with them both all day. By late afternoon, Rex had managed to stand on his own, shakily lapping some water and taking a few bites of boiled chicken. Elena took that as a hopeful sign. Around dinner time, the doorbell rang. Standing outside was a woman in her early 50s, holding a folder. She introduced herself as Dr. Sandra Roberts, a veterinarian who specialized in service animals and therapy dogs. I got a call from your vet's office, she explained. They forwarded your message since I'm listed as a backup for emergency cases involving trained dogs. They said you found a retriever with a wounded side. Marcus led her into the living room. Rex lifted his head weakly and wagged his tail once. Dr. Roberts knelt beside him, gently examining his side. Well, he's lucky you brought him in. This wound is deep, but it's clean now. Good work. She scanned the dog with a microchip reader. After a few seconds, the device beeped. He's chipped, she said. Her eyes narrowed slightly as she read the information. His name is Rex, just like the tag said. But the registry is interesting. How so? Marcus asked. Dr. Roberts hesitated. The chip's registered to Henry Walker. Elena's eyes widened. Wait, Henry Walker? From Pine Street? The old veteran who passed away? Dr. Roberts nodded. Yes. I knew Henry. He was part of a veteran support program. Rex was his service dog. Elena sat down, stunned. That explains a lot. Dr. Roberts continued, but more than that, Rex wasn't just a support dog. He was part of a specialized program for veterans with PTSD. These dogs are trained for years. They don't just provide emotional support. They're taught to detect threats, monitor breathing changes, even recognize signs of danger before they happen. In many ways, their instincts are almost supernatural. Marcus looked at Aiden, who was now quietly sitting on the floor with Rex's head in his lap. He's been with Aiden since the moment we brought him in, Marcus said. They've been inseparable. Dr. Roberts smiled. Animals like Rex can sense goodness, especially in children. Their souls are simpler, more open. She looked over at Rex again, frowning thoughtfully. But if Henry passed away, how did Rex get here? Marcus explained how they'd found him collapsed on their porch. He must have traveled a long way, Elena said. From Pine Street to here is nearly a mile. He would have had to cross the woods, Marcus added. Dr. Roberts nodded slowly. These dogs don't wander without purpose. If Rex made it here, it's because he had someone, or someone, he meant to find. Aiden spoke up again, softly. He followed my mom's scent. From the jogging path. Elena turned to her son. How do you know that? He told me. Again, the silence that followed was thick and uneasy. But no one laughed. No one dismissed the words. They all just believed him. Dr. Roberts stayed a while longer, checking Rex's vitals and leaving supplies in case his wound reopened. Before she left, she said, you have two options. Take him to the shelter or foster him until a permanent home is found. Before either parent could respond, Aiden stood up and said firmly, he's staying with us. He chose us. His voice was small but absolute. And for a moment, no one had the heart, or the courage, to argue. Later that night, as rain fell again, Elena tucked Aiden into bed. Rex lay curled at his feet. Do you want me to move into the living room? She asked softly. Aiden shook his head. No. He's watching over me. Elena smiled faintly. I think he always has been. In the middle of the night, Alina woke suddenly. Her digital clock read 2:17 a.m. Something wasn't right. Beside her, Marcus stirred. She reached out and grabbed his arm. Marcus, do you hear that? There was a faint noise downstairs, something like a click. Then silence. I'm going to check, Marcus said, already climbing out of bed. Wait. Take Rex with you, Aiden's voice said from the doorway. Startled, they both looked up. He was standing there in his pajamas, eyes calm and alert. Rex will protect you, he added. Rex, as if understanding perfectly, stood and padded toward Marcus, his injured side still stiff but his ears up, body alert. He's hurt, Alina whispered. But Rex was already moving, quiet, focused. Marcus nodded. Let's see what this is. Rex padded silently ahead of Marcus as they moved down the stairs. The house was dark, lit only by the dim glow of the porch light bleeding through the front window. Everything seemed quiet, too quiet. Marcus paused at the base of the stairs and glanced around. There it was again. A soft sound, barely audible, but definitely there. The sound of movement. Not the wind. Not the storm. Something intentional. Rex's body stiffened. A low growl rumbled in his throat. Is someone out there? Marcus whispered. Rex's ears twitched. He turned his head sharply toward the back of the house, then began moving, his nose close to the ground, tail low but steady. Marcus followed closely, his fists clenched. They reached the sliding glass door. The backyard beyond was shrouded in darkness, except for the faint outline of the old oak tree. Marcus could see no one. But Rex growled again. Whoever it is, they've been watching us, Alina said later, after Marcus returned upstairs and told her everything. This isn't just a coincidence. It's the second time, Marcus said. First when Rex showed up. Now someone creeping around the backyard. And both times, Rex reacts like he knows something we don't. Alina rubbed her arms, chilled by more than the weather. Do you think it's connected to Henry? Marcus nodded slowly. Could be. Maybe something he left behind. Something Rex was guarding. The next morning was drenched in sunlight, a strange contrast to the tension that still hung over the Turner home. Aiden, seemingly untouched by the night's events, was chipper again. He ate his cereal at the kitchen table while Rex lay at his feet, tail wagging faintly every time the boy spoke. Alina sat across from him, watching closely. Sweetheart, she said gently. Can you tell me more about the dreams you've had? The ones about Rex? Aiden looked up from his cereal, completely serious. Rex showed me the bad man. He came to Henry's house. He had a knife. Rex barked and tried to scare him, but he had to run away. Alina felt the hairs on the back of her neck rise. Why was Rex guarding Henry's house? Because of the box, Aiden answered. There were papers inside. Important ones. The sad man, Henry, hid them. Rex didn't want the bad man to take them. Marcus, standing nearby with a cup of coffee, slowly lowered it. A box with papers? What kind of papers? I don't know, Aiden said. Just, important. Rex knew they had to be safe. Alina exchanged a look with Marcus. Do you think it's true? I don't know, Marcus admitted. But I believe Aiden. And I believe Rex. Just then, there was a knock at the door. It was Officer Taylor, a seasoned local cop who had responded to the attempted break-in report Marcus had filed earlier in the week. Morning, he said, tipping his cap. Mind if I come in? Alina led him into the living room. Rex immediately sat up, alert but not aggressive. Taylor raised a brow. He's got presence, that's for sure. We think someone may have tried to break in again, Marcus said. Last night, Rex led me downstairs. I didn't see anyone, but he clearly sensed something. Taylor nodded. You mentioned a man last time. Tall, dark clothes, moved fast. That's right. Well, Taylor said, flipping open his notepad. We've had reports of someone matching that description littering around Pine Street, near Henry Walker's place. The room fell into a hush. You think this guy is connected to Henry somehow? Alina asked. Taylor nodded. Could be. Especially if Henry left behind something valuable or dangerous. Any chance this dog, Rex, might be guarding something? Aiden spoke again before anyone else could answer. He is. He tried to show us. We just didn't listen. The officer looked at the boy, then at Rex. That's a service dog, isn't it? Dr. Roberts, who had returned that morning for a follow-up check on Rex, answered for them. Yes. And not just any service dog. Rex was trained in advanced threat detection and emotional support for PTSD patients. That kind of dog doesn't act without reason. Taylor looked intrigued. So, if he was trying to show you something, maybe you should follow his lead. Dr. Roberts knelt beside Rex, gently patting his side. Rex, do you know where Henry hid the box? Rex didn't move at first. Then, slowly, he got to his feet, turned toward the front door, and looked back. It was clear. He wanted them to follow. Alina grabbed her coat. Let's go. Rex led the way, limping slightly but moving with purpose. The Turners, Officer Taylor, and Dr. Roberts followed behind in 2 cars. The road to Henry's house was muddy from the rain, but the sky above was finally clearing. Rex didn't hesitate once. He led them to the side door of the small, weathered home. The door was locked, but Taylor forced it open. Inside, the house smelled of dust and old paper. Rex moved straight to a back bedroom, ignoring everything else. He paused at the edge of the bed and began scratching at the floor. Here, Marcus said, kneeling. He's trying to show us something. He pried up one of the old floorboards. Beneath it, nestled in the space between the joists, was a small metal lockbox, dented and rusted but intact. Taylor opened it carefully. Inside were papers. Dozens of them. Legal documents, letters, photos. Dr. Roberts let out a low whistle. These are military files. Classified documents. Why would Henry have these? Alina asked. Taylor shook his head. Hard to say. But it explains why someone might want them, and why Rex was protecting them. Just then, a noise from outside made them all freeze. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. Marcus peered out the window. It's him, he said. The guy from last time. The man burst through the side door, a knife glinting in his hand. Rex launched forward. Despite his injury, he moved with precision, intercepting the intruder with a powerful bark and a flash of golden fern. The man staggered backward, startled, just long enough for Taylor to subdue him. After a tense moment, the officer snapped handcuffs onto the man's wrists. You're done, he said, hauling him up. Rex limped back to Aiden, tail wagging weakly. The danger had passed. And the mystery was unraveling. Back at the Turner house, the mood was still tense, but there was a sense of closure hanging in the air. Officer Taylor had taken the intruder, identified as Victor Ellis, a disgraced former associate of Henry Walker, into custody. His motive was now clear. He had been after Henry's lockbox, hoping to find and sell sensitive military documents. Alina sat on the couch with a cup of tea, her hands still trembling. Across the room, Aiden was lying on the floor next to Rex, who had been bandaged again but seemed calm, resting his head on the boy's lap. Aiden stroked his ears gently, whispering things only Rex could hear. You did good, boy, Marcus said softly, kneeling beside the dog. You protected all of us. Dr. Roberts, who had stayed behind to help with Rex's team, looked from Rex to Aiden with visible emotion in her eyes. There's something extraordinary between them. I've worked with therapy animals for over 20 years, and I've never seen a bond like this, not this fast. Elena nodded slowly. It's like they speak the same language. They do, Aiden said simply, still petting Rex. He talks to me in pictures and feelings. I see what he sees. Dr. Roberts gave a small, amazed smile. Children are often more attuned to animals than adults. They don't question what they feel. Later that afternoon, Sandra, Henry's niece, arrived at the Turner home after hearing about the discovery and the arrest. We've been searching for Rex since the day Henry passed, she explained. We thought he'd run away, maybe grieving, but now I understand. He had a mission. Marcus handed her the lockbox. This is what he was protecting. Sandra took it carefully, her expression sullen. I didn't even know this existed. Henry was always private about his past, but he said if anything happened to him, someone would come for his records. He must have trusted Rex to keep them safe. You said Rex had a unique background? Elena asked. Sandra nodded. He wasn't just a service dog. He was trained in a program for military veterans with classified trauma. These dogs aren't just emotionally supportive, they're guardians, protectors. Rex wasn't just loyal, he was trained to understand danger. Marcus looked down at the dog now sleeping peacefully. He chose to come here. To us. To Aiden. Sandra nodded, then paused. There's something else. She turned to Aiden. Rex seems to have bonded deeply with you. I know we were hoping to bring him back, but would you like to keep him? Aiden's eyes lit up, but not in the excited way of a child getting a toy. His gaze was steady, calm. He belongs here, he said. We belong to each other. Sandra smiled, misty-eyed. Then he's yours. With the paperwork arranged and the threat from Victor neutralized, the Turner home settled into a new rhythm. Rex was now a permanent part of their family. His bowl sat by the kitchen wall. His leash hung by the front door. Aiden insisted on buying a Real dog bed, even though Rex rarely used it. He preferred sleeping right beside Aiden's bed, as if watching over him every night. Weeks passed. The storm clouds, literal and emotional, had lifted. Life began to feel normal again, or at least a new version of normal. One morning, Elena helped Aiden dress in his nicest clothes, a small blue suit he usually fussed about wearing. But today, he didn't complain. Rex needs me to be there, he said quietly. It was Henry Walker's memorial. The service was held at a quiet veteran cemetery. The white headstone stretched in neat rows, solemn and serene under the morning sun. Rex walked beside Aiden, calm and collected, a black ribbon tied gently around his collar. They sat in the front row beside Sandra. When the time came to place a rose on Henry's casket, Aiden led Rex to the front. Rex paused then. For a long moment, the retriever stood still, head bowed, eyes locked on the flag-draped casket. His tail did not wag. His breathing was soft but deliberate. He was saying goodbye. At the reception, Elena wandered among the photo displays set up on easels around the room. One picture in particular caught her attention, a much younger Henry sitting on his porch, laughing with a golden retriever puppy nestled in his lap. That was Rex, Sandra said, coming up beside him. He's been protecting people his whole life. Elena smiled softly. He passed the job on. That evening, Rex was quiet, more so than usual. He lay in his bed near the window, gazing out into the yard where the oak tree stood tall above a soft mound of dirt, his favorite resting spot now marked by a small wooden sign with Henry's name carved into it. Aiden sat beside him as always, whispering softly. Elena watched from the doorway. Later that night, as the house fell quiet, she checked on Rex. His breathing was deep, labored. A sheen of exhaustion covered him like a blanket. "I think," she said softly to Marcus, who stood beside her, "I think he might be saying goodbye." They woke Aiden. He didn't cry. He didn't panic. He simply nodded, as if he had already known. He padded down the stairs, crawled onto the floor beside Rex, and placed one small hand on the dog's golden head. "It's okay, Rex," he said gently. "You don't have to fight anymore. The sad man is waiting for you." Rex's tail thumped once. Then he closed his eyes. By morning, he was gone. They buried Rex beneath the oak tree where he had loved to lie in the sun, wrapped in the superhero blanket Aiden had given him that first night. Aiden placed the photo of Henry beside him. "He'll want this," Aiden said softly. So he's not alone. The weeks that followed were quiet. The house felt empty. The absence of Rex echoed in the halls, in the corners of rooms, in the quiet moments that used to belong to him. Aiden withdrew a little. His new confidence dimmed, his energy softened by the weight of grief. Elena worried, until one rainy afternoon when they visited the local rescue shelter. As they walked past rows of kennels, a small whimper caught Aiden's ear. In the very last kennel sat a tiny golden retriever pup, the runt of the litter. His fur was ruffled, his eyes cautious. "He's the last one," the volunteer explained. "The others have all been adopted. He's been waiting for something, or someone." Aiden didn't speak. He simply knelt a few feet away, hands at his sides. The puppy looked at him. Then slowly, very slowly, stood, took a tentative step forward, and then another. A moment later, he was curled in Aiden's lap. Elena watched, tears gathering in her eyes. "Do you want to take him home?" Aiden nodded. "His name is Hero." That night, Hero lay curled up on the floor of Aiden's bedroom, his little chest rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. Aiden stroked his head gently. "He's not Rex," he whispered. "But he's learning." Outside the window, the oak tree rustled in the wind. And for just a moment, Elena swore she heard the soft bark of a grown dog, faint, but unmistakable. She turned toward the tree, her heart full. "Thank you," she whispered into the night. And someone, whenever brave dogs go when their job is done, Rex was watching. Still protecting. Still loving. Forever part of their family.